Sometimes when you hear a certain band's name, you're forced to immediately think of all sorts of goofy, sometimes even unrelated shit, like Insane Clown Posse. They don't just sound like a bunch of dumb clowns, they look like a bunch of dumb clowns. And they ask the tough questions. Good magnets, fuck this shit. The Smashing Pumpkins. Because despite all my rage, I can still only think of Nick Cage. For some weird internet reason. Linkin Park. You ever hear two dudes talking just like, yo dude, I freaking love Linkin Park so much. And the guy's like, oh yeah dude, their benches and recreational gathering spaces are so tight, bro. Nickelback. You buy a CD, you probably overpaid for it. Have a Nickelback. But none of that applies to the band today, because when you hear this band's name, you are forced to imagine only what the band itself is all about. Even what the music physically looks like. A simple past tense verb with an overly sexualized adjective is all you need to get taken straight to the heart of the hardcore scene. And we're not talking about the loose front row of teeth in the center of the mosh pit that once belonged to that unconscious guy over there. We are talking about the band Knocked Loose.
A lot of the music that I listen to is based around just like...
Welcome back to How to Write Like, the show where I basically do three things. I pick a band I really like, introduce you to all the band members, break down their style and techniques to write music the same way they do, then I finish it off with a big ol' HD playthrough with my own song inspired by the band that I love so gosh dang much. Super special thanks to Ernie Ball for sending me 8-string sets of 8 strings for my 8-string. And for my patrons over on Patreon, thank you, I love you. You have no idea how much it means to me in these troublesome, weird times we're going through right now. But before we get into it, we of course have to look at the last video, the Guess the Next, to see all your guys' guesses and how you did. Okay, it's been like way too long since I made that video. Who's that band? Let's see how you did. Did you guys guess it? Alright, let's see. Knock Loose. Well, yep, you even ARF. Yeah, I did put the ARF in there. Dave Matthews. No, not really. Okay, not that either. Let's see. Knock Loose, Knock Loose, Knock Loose. Yep, sometimes I feel like Peter and Julian just write random shit, post as Guess the Next, and then just see what people say. That's such a good idea. Now I know what some of you might be thinking. I don't listen to Knock Loose. I don't need to learn no hardcore beatdown. I can just get good by watching Ingve videos all day at quarter speed.
You do that very slow, girls.
But to you I say, hey, watch Petrucci videos instead. He's a much nicer guy. But more importantly, Knock Loose are like STD. Just because you don't care doesn't mean it's not affecting someone you know or your loved ones. See, in a time where music has been hyper-focused on technicality and pushing the boundaries of instruments, Knock Loose kept it simple. They kept it tight. They broke out as a band to remind us all that good music doesn't always have to have more notes.
There's a part in the song where there's a little guitar break, and then everything hits with a...
See, I've always seen metal and hardcore as kind of the moshing and two-stepping of genres, with country being like the hokey pokey and dubstep can... I don't know. What I mean is, while there's a lot of overlap between metal and hardcore, or moshing and two-stepping at shows, you will typically see more moshing at the metal shows and more two-stepping at the hardcore shows. While both bands will deliver on heavy breakdowns, metal bands will typically go off on a blast beaty, fast tremolo-picking adventure, whilst the hardcore bands start chromatically riffing around their 4 frets at most with like one-note leads that just drone over the top of the song. Both are brutal enough to make you want to punch a grandma in the face, but there's still a notable difference here that is immediately recognizable. Wait a second, that man's not a child.
Fortnite.
I was wrong. I was very wrong. I'm sorry. A huge part of what separates Knock Loose from other bands is their vocalist Brian, who instead of using his voice to, just like do Sasquatch impersonations, he goes higher and sounds more like someone who's actually just walked in on a serial killer mid-murder who just turns his gaze towards you and starts sprinting up to you and you just... It's weird, like most vocalists in metal aim to be this big, dominating presence on stage with low, meaty growls that come from a big main villain of a TV show or a movie, but... Jesus fucking Christ, dude. But Brian aims to be more like a victim in the middle of true terror when he screams. I don't get the feeling that he's trying to be larger than life. I get the feeling that he's more reflecting life. Like his words are being shrieked in a call for help rather than just, some big bad McBald guy here trying to swallow me for breakfast. Now, I'm not trying to knock bald-headed, heavy, growly men trying to scream about power and annihilation, okay? I love that shit, and I've been yelled at by more bald metal frontmen in metal bands than I have my actual father, but sometimes you just want to hear from the other side's perspective, you know? And that's what I hear when I hear Knock a Foot Loose. Plus, I mean, look how cute the guy is. He looks more like Justin Bieber than Justin Bieber.
I don't go to parties, no, I just stay at home and play video games.
God damn it, Brian, you could say anything and I would fucking laugh.
Banana pudding.
A lot of the music that I listen to is based around just like, oh, like this does something different. You know, like this is a new thing. You know, it's like maybe some people think it's weird, but like, how did they make that? You know, because a lot of people hate things that they don't understand. So I want to learn how things are made, you know?
Yes, breaking down new things you don't understand so that you can understand them better. It's almost like the philosophy of this whole YouTube channel. From a guitarist standpoint, a lot of simple and effective techniques and songwriting choices immediately jump out to me. You got your chromatic breakdowns, your Norma Jean panic chords, you got shutting the fuck up for a second while the bass and drums set up a goofy ass mosh call. Ah, mosh calls. You remember those days? Does anyone else remember a day? Disrespect your surroundings! And yes, while none of these techniques sound particularly hard, you still have to use them appropriately. Just because a drawing is in black and white ink only with no color doesn't mean it's an easy drawing. Of course, anyone who comes from a species that discovered fire can just play open notes on a tightly wound string, but since making music that's uncomplicated is so accessible to everybody making music, you have to be really, really good at it. It's not enough to just write a solid song if it's simple, because that probably already exists somewhere else. So to stand out, you gotta do creative shit like, I don't know. Lastly in the band, we have Kevin on bass and Kevin on drums, aka Paxson. I don't know what that means. There's probably a funny story relating to Paxsons. On one hand, Kevin is an absolute joy to watch. I mean, looking at this guy go, he looks like he's enjoying what he's doing. My drummer said he's improved a shit ton as a drummer, which I wouldn't, you know, he hits stuff good and I like it. So, you know what, Kevin? Absolute beauty to watch what you do. And then on the other hand, you got Kevin, who, I mean, when you watch him, I mean, you just kind of... There is technically also, yes, another member called Cole Crutchfield on guitar. If you look him up, you can find him in interviews, but you also, if you look him up, you just find stuff like this. Dope. As always, the point of chapter 1 was to introduce you to a band you may not have heard of, maybe give you the general vibe of the techniques we got going on. Now, we're going to pick up our instruments, we're going to actually look at the note choice, we're going to open our DAWs, we're going to do all the fucking... we're going to do adult musician shit. Okay, yeah, okay, this is... probably going to be painful and stupid, but okay, pencils down, class, shut up. This is going to be step-by-step tutorial time. Actually, no, pencils up. This is note-taking time. Couple notes first before we get started. Knock Loose's open note does not sound like this open note because this is a dropped 8 string in E. Drop E. I don't think that's what Knock Loose sounds like. They sound like this note right here. Up there on the 5th note, the 5th being, you know, above the 1, 2, 3, and 4. Is the 5th. So when I say open note on, I assume on their 7 string, 6 string dropped. I don't know. I should have done more research. And then from there, I kind of just did like this D minor, like scale that goes up. So if you want to know the notes, there they are. All right. So step 1 is going to be the feedback, and that by that mean I do not mean constructive feedback. I don't want any of your feedback verbally. I want just when you like hit the notes. Or maybe you like get some feedbacks here this way with some harmonics. And you just like hold it in front of your amp. I don't have an amp, I have that monitor up there. Feedback. Step 2 is going to be 2 chords. Like 2-step. 2.5 meh. Step 3 is going to be this like fast chromatic breakdown. So basically, you know what breakdowns are. We're going to do them fast because this is what shredding in hardcore looks like. Step 4 is what we're going to do is we're actually going to stay with me here. Crazy idea. Instead of fast, it will be slow. Now step 5 is where it really gets interesting. So what we got here, we got like this sort of like upbeat beat down, aka like the up down beat breakdown of down tempo, aka the up down left right, aka Step 6 is actually the clip of the guitarist Isaac talking earlier about the big open, the part that it hits, and it's got like this big boomy feel. And I think that's achieved by really having a lot of open notes ringing out. Step 7 is shut the fuck up. You? In the back class? Shut up. Shut the fuck up. Step 8 is to write a breakdown so heavy with such dissonant squeals that would make even Norma Jean shit their two-tone blue jeans that Norma probably bought from PacSuns. Does this camera angle look better than all of my previous guitar shots?
I don't know what I'm doing.
All right, we've met the band. We've learned every step. We just gotta take every step, line it up back to back, and you got yourself a Knock Loose song. Or at least a decent hardcore song. Or, you know, at the very least, you wasted the last 4 months of your life making this piece of garbage video. As always, comment your guesses down below on who you think the next band I should write like is. I don't really have a lot of songs started right now. I got a couple Instagram guitar songs going, but not a lot, so I'm open to interpretations. So comment down below on who you want the next band to be. I actually only put this video out because of the fans that watch the channel, that support, that comment, like the patrons especially. Like, I'm not gonna leave you guys with nothing, even if I'm feeling really drained lately. My God, with the world lately. But I still wanted to make something for you guys, so there's still the playthrough after this. Hopefully you guys enjoyed learning something about Knock Loose. Maybe you just skip to the steps. Maybe you just skip to the playthrough. I don't care. I think it's all great. All right, that's all I wanted to say. Thank you. I love you guys for watching. Thank you, Patreons, and enjoy the playthrough on how to write like Knock Loose.
You can take clearly,